so everything was going well, so you decided you needed to do a story about the Christ.
Yeah.
Because now, was that a calling, would you say, or was that another challenge?
It was just something that got into my head about I just kept having visions about it, you know.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the world of Hollywood legend Mel Gibson, his larger-than-life lifestyle, blockbuster earnings, and the latest buzz-making headlines. If you love fame, fortune, and a touch of drama, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you're always in the loop. Let's get started. Born Mel Columcille Gerard Gibson on January 3, 1956 in Peekskill, New York, Mel Gibson grew up as the sixth of 11 children in a devout Catholic family of Irish descent. His father, Hutton Gibson, worked as a railroad brakeman and later became a writer, while his mother, Anne Riley, was an Irish immigrant whose strong faith and cultural traditions deeply influenced the household. When Mel was 12, the family relocated to Australia after his father won a legal settlement and sought to shield his sons from the possibility of being drafted into the Vietnam War. This move would prove pivotal, immersing Gibson in a new cultural environment that would shape his personal identity and creative ambitions. Raised in Sydney, Gibson's upbringing was marked by both discipline and strong family ties. His parents emphasized faith, education, and resilience, instilling values that would carry into his professional life. The large family dynamic fostered a sense of competition, camaraderie, and storytelling at home. Early on, Gibson showed a lively imagination and a mischievous streak, often entertaining his siblings with impressions and playful performances, though he did not initially see himself pursuing acting as a career. During his teenage years, Gibson attended St. Leo's Catholic College in Wahroonga and later Asquith Boys High School. While not a star student, he developed an interest in literature, theater, and history, inspired by the rich cultural traditions of his Irish-Australian heritage. His mother, with her strong devotion to the arts and faith, encouraged her children to think creatively and independently. This influence helped cultivate Mel's early curiosity about performance and storytelling, though his first aspirations leaned more toward becoming a chef or journalist. A turning point came when Gibson's sister submitted an application on his behalf to the prestigious National Institute of Dramatic Art in Sydney, without initially telling him. Though surprised, Mel embraced the opportunity, and his natural talent quickly became evident. At NIDA, he studied alongside future luminaries like Geoffrey Rush and Judy Davis, and under the tutelage of veteran teachers, he learned the craft of performance with discipline and rigor. His time at NIDA was transformative, exposing him to Shakespearean theater, classical stage techniques, and the collaborative nature of acting, which ignited his passion for the profession. Even before graduation, Gibson began performing in stage productions, where his intensity and charisma stood out. He forged early relationships with peers and mentors who recognized his potential and encouraged him to pursue both theater and film. His classmates recalled his dedication, versatility, and a magnetism that drew audiences in, traits that would define his later career. This period also saw him land his first screen roles, small but significant steps that introduced him to the film industry. Mel Gibson's early years, shaped by his Irish-American roots, his family's bold relocation to Australia, and the academic rigor of NIDA, were instrumental in preparing him for international stardom. Career and success. Mel Gibson's early emergence from the rigorous training grounds of NIDA led seamlessly into a career that would catapult him to international stardom and establish him as one of the most dynamic and influential figures in modern cinema. His first major breakthrough came with the Australian dystopian action film Mad Max, 1979, where he portrayed the stoic and vengeful Max Rokitansky. The film was a commercial sensation, becoming a global cult classic and giving Gibson instant recognition. This early success was soon amplified by Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, 1981, and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, 1985, which cemented his image as a rugged action hero and brought him acclaim in both the Australian and international film markets. In parallel, Gibson showcased his dramatic range in films such as Gallipoli, 1981, and The Year of Living Dangerously, 1982, both directed by Peter Weir. These performances proved his depth as an actor and demonstrated his ability to navigate between emotionally complex roles and mainstream action. But it was his move to Hollywood that turned Gibson into a household name. His role as the volatile but principled detective Martin Riggs in Lethal Weapon, 1987, marked a turning point. The film's massive success spawned 3 sequels and firmly entrenched Gibson in the pantheon of 1980s and 90s action stars. His chemistry with co-star Danny Glover and the balance of humor, intensity, and vulnerability in his performance made Riggs one of the most iconic characters in buddy cop film history. As Gibson's fame grew, so did his ambitions. In the mid-1990s, he expanded into directing, a move that would redefine his career. His directorial debut, The Man Without a Face, 1993, received positive reviews, but it was his sophomore effort, Braveheart, 1995, that became a landmark achievement. Gibson not only directed and produced the film, but also starred as Scottish freedom fighter William Wallace. Braveheart won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, catapulting Gibson into the elite ranks of Hollywood auteurs. Gibson continued to explore ambitious, often controversial projects such as The Patriot, 2000, What Women Want, 2000, and Signs, 2002, demonstrating a knack for balancing commercial appeal with narrative risk. But it was The Passion of the Christ, 2004, which he directed, co-wrote, and financed independently, that marked another pivotal moment in his career. Told entirely in Aramaic and Latin, the film was a major box office success and cultural flashpoint, earning over $600 million worldwide. Though divisive, it underscored Gibson's willingness to take bold creative and financial risks. Despite facing personal and professional setbacks in the late 2000s due to controversial public incidents, Gibson made a remarkable return to critical favor with Hacksaw Ridge, 2016, a World War II epic that earned 6 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director. The film won 2 Oscars and reaffirmed Gibson's standing as a masterful director, capable of blending humanistic storytelling with visceral cinema. His direction was praised for its emotional sincerity and brutal authenticity, proving his artistic voice remained as potent as ever. Over the years, Gibson has built a legacy marked by versatility, ambition, and a flair for emotionally resonant narratives. His collaborations with major studios, actors, and creatives, such as Randall Wallace, Joaquin Phoenix, and Andrew Garfield, have led to enduring works that span genres and generations. Income and wealth. Mel Gibson's financial success reflects his long-standing dominance in both the commercial and creative sides of the film industry. With an estimated net worth ranging from $425 million to $450 million, according to various celebrity finance outlets, Gibson has earned his fortune through a combination of blockbuster acting roles, high-stakes directing projects, and independent film production. Gibson first became a top-earning actor during the 1980s and 1990s, thanks to global hits like the Mad Max series and Lethal Weapon franchise. By the early 2000s, he was commanding salaries of $20 million or more per film, joining the ranks of Hollywood's highest-paid stars. However, his greatest financial windfalls have come from his work behind the camera. In 2004, Gibson directed and financed The Passion of the Christ with his own money, reportedly around $30 million to $45 million of his own investment. It's estimated that he personally made over $300 million from that project alone, making it one of the most lucrative independent films in history. Icon Productions, co-founded by Gibson in the late 1980s, has been another key revenue stream. Unlike traditional studio models, Icon allowed Gibson to finance and distribute films on his own terms, giving him creative freedom and a greater share of profits. In addition to The Passion of the Christ, the company has backed Apocalypto, 2006, Hacksaw Ridge, 2016, and other projects that found both critical and commercial success. The success of Hacksaw Ridge which earned over $180 million worldwide and received 6 Academy Award nominations, reaffirmed Gibson's credibility in Hollywood and reignited his directing career after a hiatus. Gibson's income has also been bolstered by ongoing royalties, back-end deals, and international distribution rights from his filmography. He has appeared in or directed numerous global hits that continue to generate revenue through syndication, streaming, DVD/Blu-ray sales, and licensing. Despite periods of controversy and career setbacks, Gibson's ability to independently finance and control his films has insulated him financially and allowed him to recover and thrive. His approach to filmmaking, bold, high-risk, and deeply personal, has not only defined his artistic legacy but also built a financial empire that rivals many of Hollywood's most powerful figures. Life and lifestyle. Building on the foundation of his storied career and significant financial success, Mel Gibson leads a lifestyle that blends artistic passion, personal complexity, and a love for privacy. Known for his intense performances and bold directorial vision, Gibson's off-screen life is equally multifaceted, marked by quiet interests, personal challenges, spiritual reflection, and selective philanthropy. His lifestyle reveals a man who values craftsmanship, introspection, and independence above celebrity spotlight. Unlike many of his Hollywood peers, Gibson has long been averse to the trappings of fame. He shuns red carpets and rarely participates in public fanfare unless it aligns with a project he's deeply committed to. Much of his downtime is spent on his expansive properties, particularly his private Costa Rican retreat and his homes in Malibu and Australia. These serene settings provide an escape from Hollywood pressures and reflect his love for nature, solitude, and quiet contemplation. An avid outdoorsman, Gibson enjoys horseback riding, hiking, and exploring the natural world. He is also passionate about traditional craftsmanship, particularly in woodworking and historical preservation. He's been known to personally oversee renovations on his properties, showing a hands-on approach that mirrors the precision and detail of his filmmaking. His interest in history and ancient cultures, evident in films like Braveheart, The Passion of the Christ, and Apocalypto, spills over into his lifestyle. He often reads extensively about theology, philosophy, and anthropology, drawing creative inspiration from these pursuits. Gibson is also a skilled visual artist and musician. He plays several instruments and has a long-standing appreciation for classical music, which has influenced the scores of his films. Though not one to frequently showcase these talents publicly, they serve as personal outlets for creativity and emotional expression. His deep Roman Catholic faith, particularly rooted in traditionalist beliefs, remains a central force in his personal life and decision-making. This spiritual foundation has shaped not only his lifestyle, but also many of his creative works and philanthropic efforts. In terms of philanthropy, Gibson has quietly donated millions to various charitable causes over the years. He's supported children's hospitals, indigenous communities in Central America, and foundations focused on addiction recovery, mental health, and religious education. Notably, he donated over $10 million to the Church of the Holy Family in Malibu and has contributed to efforts supporting Holocaust survivors and displaced families, though these acts often fly under the radar due to his preference for privacy over publicity. Despite his contributions and introspective lifestyle, Gibson has faced significant public controversy, most notably a series of personal scandals in the mid to late 2000s involving accusations of domestic abuse, anti-Semitic and racist remarks, and struggles with alcoholism. These incidents severely impacted his public image and professional opportunities for several years. However, Gibson has spoken candidly about his efforts to recover, undergo therapy, and reclaim control over his life. His 2016 comeback with Hacksaw Ridge marked not only a professional resurgence but also a personal milestone in redemption and resilience. In fashion, Gibson's style is understated and functional. He typically opts for rugged, casual attire, flannel shirts, work boots, and denim, favoring comfort over high fashion. This low-key approach to appearance underscores his reluctance to embrace the Hollywood lifestyle and emphasizes his down-to-earth sensibilities. He's a creature of habit, known for maintaining a tight inner circle and prioritizing personal authenticity over public perception. Mel Gibson's lifestyle offers a portrait of a man both troubled and talented, an individual whose legacy is shaped by contradictions but grounded in a deep passion for storytelling, spirituality, and introspection. Personal relationships. Mel Gibson's life off-screen has been as complex and layered as the characters he portrays in the films he directs. Just as his lifestyle reflects privacy, spirituality, and introspection, his personal relationships, both intimate and professional, have profoundly shaped his journey. From long-standing family ties to a quietly evolving new romance and enduring industry friendships, Gibson's connections reveal a man deeply affected by love, loyalty, and personal struggle. Gibson's most significant and longest relationship began in the late 1970s with Robin Moore, a dental nurse who became his wife in 1980. Together, they raised 7 children over their 26-year marriage. Though their divorce in 2011 was highly publicized, Robin received one of Hollywood's largest settlements. Sources say they retained mutual respect and prioritized their children's well-being post-split. Following his separation, Gibson had a short-lived but highly publicized relationship with Russian pianist Oksana Grigorieva. The couple had a daughter, Lucia, in 2009. However, their relationship ended amid legal turmoil, allegations of abuse, and a contentious custody battle, an ordeal that severely affected Gibson's personal and public life. This difficult chapter served as a pivotal moment of reckoning and re-evaluation in his journey. Since 2014, Gibson has been in a long-standing, low-profile relationship with screenwriter, director, and former equestrian champion Rosalind Ross. The couple met when she was recruited by his production company, Icon Productions, to co-write a script. Their connection deepened quickly, and a decade later, their relationship remains strong. They share a son, Lars Gerard Gibson, born in January 2017. Gibson often speaks fondly of Ross's remarkable talents. He recently revealed on a podcast that she holds a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, highlighting her discipline and strategic outlook, and even joked that she wins arguments when she's wrong, which he says has taught him not to argue lightly. Her creative accomplishments are substantial on their own. She wrote, directed, and executive produced Father Stu, 2022, and is now working on God of the Rodeo starring Shia LaBeouf. Beyond romantic ties, Gibson remains closely connected to his large family. Raised as one of 11 children in a devout Catholic home, he continues to value his sibling bonds, especially his relationship with his brother Donald, who has occasionally appeared in Gibson's films. Despite the globe-spanning pressures of fame, Gibson frequently retreats to familial and friend-based circles for grounding and emotional solace. Professionally, Gibson's loyalties have also endured. His collaborations with screenwriter-director Randall Wallace, particularly on Braveheart, reflect a deep creative synergy rooted in shared narrative vision. Similarly, the camaraderie he shared with Danny Glover during the Lethal Weapon trilogy remains an iconic Hollywood friendship remembered for its authenticity and warmth. Gibson's relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, mirror the intensity, loyalty, and resilience that define his work on screen. While controversy has undeniably shaped parts of his story, these connections illustrate a narrative of growth, redemption, and measured healing. Over time, his bonds have become quieter, yet more intentional, a reflection of a man seeking depth over spectacle and sincerity over showmanship. Ultimately, Mel Gibson's relationships offer a profound lens into his values, rooted in family, loyalty, creativity, and redemption. They deepen our understanding of a figure whose legacy is shaped not just by monumental films, but by the enduring connections that have both challenged and sustained him. Real estate. Just as Mel Gibson's personal life has been shaped by a journey of transformation and reflection, his real estate portfolio tells a parallel story, one marked by bold investments, spiritual retreats, architectural elegance, and even heartbreaking loss. One of Gibson's most extraordinary acquisitions came in 2005 when he purchased Mago Island, a remote, 5,400-acre volcanic island in Fiji for approximately $15 million. One of the largest privately owned islands in the South Pacific, Mago remains largely undeveloped, home only to a small team of caretakers. Unlike the typical celebrity island purchase turned vacation compound, Gibson's approach was different, focused not on lavish construction, but on preservation. This spiritual and environmental retreat mirrors his deep personal faith and preference for quiet introspection over celebrity spectacle. Another significant international holding is Gibson's Costa Rican jungle estate near Playa Barragona. Spanning over 400 acres, this lush coastal property includes 3 Balinese-style villas, one of which features 7 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms, while the other 2 offer 2 bedrooms each. The estate's design incorporates rich tropical wood, hand-carved doors, expansive stone terraces, and panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. Gibson acquired the compound in 2007 for a reported $26 million, and at one point listed it for $30 million. It remains one of the most breathtaking and secluded celebrity retreats in Central America, embodying his desire to stay close to nature and far from the public eye. Closer to home, Gibson made headlines in 2008 when he purchased a stunning old world-style estate in Malibu from actors David Duchovny and Téa Leoni for $12 million. Nestled on 5.5 acres in a private gated enclave, the home boasted 6,578 square feet, 5 bedrooms, rich wood beam ceilings, multiple fireplaces, a library, gym, 2 swimming pools, and equestrian facilities. The estate was the picture of rustic European elegance, with a French country kitchen and verdant tree-lined grounds that provided complete seclusion. It became his primary U.S. residence for nearly 2 decades and was a deeply personal space for Gibson and his family. However, in a devastating turn of events, Gibson's Malibu estate was completely destroyed in the Southern California wildfires of early 2025. The actor discovered the loss while recording a podcast appearance, describing the moment he learned of the fire and the heartbreak of returning to find it gone. While the destruction was profound, emotionally and materially, Gibson emphasized gratitude for his family's safety and soon made the decision to rebuild the home from the ground up. As of mid-2025, the rebuilding process is underway, with foundations laid and designs underway to restore the estate to its original splendor. What stands out across Gibson's real estate choices is a consistent aesthetic: old-world craftsmanship, cultural reverence, and natural seclusion. Unlike the sleek, ultra-modern estates favored by many of his peers, Gibson's properties favor heavy timber, stone fireplaces, ocean or jungle views, and spiritual symbolism. They are homes built not just for comfort, but for reflection. Spaces designed to escape the chaos of fame and reconnect with deeper truths. Cars and vehicles. Flowing naturally from the themes of resilience and grounded living seen in Mel Gibson's real estate and personal life, his relationship with vehicles offers a similarly revealing glimpse into his evolving identity, from humble beginnings to a quieter kind of opulence. In his early years before Mad Max made him an international icon, Gibson drove a modest 1968 Chevy wagon while living in Australia. At the time, he was a student at the National Institute of Dramatic Art and had little more than ambition and instinct. His first car was practical and unremarkable, far from the high-octane vehicles he would later command on screen, but it got him to auditions and theater rehearsals, serving as a symbol of his working-class roots and early independence. As fame and fortune followed, particularly after the Mad Max and Lethal Weapon franchises, Gibson's taste in cars naturally shifted. He developed a clear affinity for powerful, classic, and rugged vehicles, a reflection of both his action hero persona and his real-life taste for utility and endurance over vanity. One of his more famous car-related moments occurred not in real life, but in pop culture history. Mad Max's iconic black 1973 Ford Falcon XBGT Interceptor, a car so closely associated with Gibson's on-screen legacy that it continues to appear at fan conventions and auto museums around the world. While Gibson himself never owned the original car, the imagery became synonymous with his early career and fueled interest in high-performance Australian muscle cars. In his personal collection, Gibson has reportedly owned a Range Rover, BMW 7 Series, and Mercedes-Benz S-Class, vehicles that prioritize both comfort and presence. He has also been spotted driving a Chevrolet Silverado, consistent with his down-to-earth, hands-on personality and preference for practicality over flash. While not a known car collector or gearhead in the traditional sense, Gibson's car choices suggest a man who values reliability, strength, and low-key sophistication. Unlike many of his contemporaries, he has not invested in exotic sports cars or custom supercars, instead opting for vehicles that echo his grounded lifestyle and masculine elegance. In terms of travel, Gibson has increasingly relied on private aviation, particularly when commuting between his remote Costa Rican estate, film locations, and his Los Angeles home. The privacy and control afforded by private jets align with his desire for discretion and autonomy, especially in later years when public scrutiny grew intense. Current lifestyle. Flowing from the themes of grit and grounded legacy seen in his vehicles and homes, Mel Gibson's 2025 lifestyle reflects a man in steady creative motion, balancing redemption-fueled storytelling, quiet family life, and personal conviction with remarkable resilience. Now in his late 60s, Gibson continues to forge a distinctive path, both behind the camera and in the world he builds outside of it. 2025 marks a significant creative surge for Gibson. Early in the year, he directed Flight Risk, a gritty action thriller starring Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Dockery, and Topher Grace. Released in January, the film earned approximately $50 million worldwide, despite mixed critical reception and a challenging release window. Looking further ahead, Gibson is returning to one of his most iconic works with the highly anticipated sequel, The Resurrection of the Christ. Co-written with his brother Donald and screenwriter Randall Wallace, the follow-up to The Passion of the Christ delves into supernatural and theological themes that Gibson described as acid trip storytelling. Lionsgate has set a bold release strategy. Part 1 will debut on Good Friday, March 26, 2027, followed exactly 40 days later by Part 2 on Ascension Day, May 6, 2027. He's also reprising his role as director in the beloved Lethal Weapon series through Lethal Weapon 5, which was confirmed in May 2025 during a touching reunion with co-star Danny Glover at a fan expo. Though Gibson acknowledged development challenges in a recent interview, he expressed confidence in moving the project forward, aiming to honor the legacy of late director Richard Donner. On the personal front, Gibson remains deeply rooted in family life. While details remain private, it's clear he is grounded in his roles as a devoted partner and father. Behind the scenes, Gibson continues philanthropic work, though often quietly. He supports causes such as children's health, voter education, at-risk youth, and disaster relief, including contributions to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, Healing the Children, and conservation efforts. Mel Gibson in 2025 is a figure of focused relevance. By balancing high-stakes directorial projects, strategic franchise returns, and understated philanthropy, he remains both a cinematic force and a quietly powerful cultural presence. His ability to evolve, addressing past controversies head-on while pursuing bold new storytelling, allows him to connect with longtime fans and new audiences alike, continuing his legacy as a resilient, enigmatic creative voice in modern cinema. That brings us to the end of this story. If you enjoyed it, don't miss the other celebrity journeys waiting for you on screen. Thanks so much for watching.